Oh, if you want to make it one. I mean, we didn't talk about it today. I felt last year we had some good performances here and some not so good performances. We'll try and do a better job the next time we come here. But it's fair enough that you asked that question. I'm not cook on you for asking it, but the answer is I don't know.
Well, it's beyond doubt that it looms large over this team as they continue their assault at a premiership. They'll need to go through the MCG clearly once at least, and maybe more. 1-7, Lordo, since they've been good, I guess. Yep. 1-13 since they began this Fagan journey.
And that's right. I want to make sure it was since they've been good, and that's 1-7, which is disappointing. I think if you're a high-quality side, like the other three at the moment, say, for example, they're winning anywhere. Like Melbourne have won plenty of games interstate. Port Adelaide have won plenty of games this year interstate. And Collingwood. So that's an issue for Brisbane.
Is it mental?
I think it has to be, because at the Gabba, they're hard to beat, awesome. They can win at other stadiums too. But here is Lachie Neale speaking post-match about his own performance, where I think a lot of key Brisbane players let their club down.
Like you said, our tackling was off. I know myself, I probably had 4 or 5 pretty pathetic efforts and broken tackles, which led to scores from Hawthorn. So, yeah, I'll get to work on that this week, and felt like I was a step or two off of them at drop a ball and all the stuff that I really pride my game on, and I'm sure some of the other guys would feel the same.
It was a rough loss. Just on the G very quickly, I'm not sure. They're magnificent off-field footy club. I'm not sure they put the same intense focus into the old Fitzroy fans that, say, the Swans have in Melbourne. And when they leave the Gabba, I think it's a real opportunity for them to try and rebuild.
They don't get many opportunities, though, do they? So it's hard.
No, but they've got to stir that Melbourne fan base. They've got to make it everyone's problem. They reckon and try and get the fans more. They just turn up like the away team and cop their medicine, but they've got to actually try and turn it into a different environment.
Hutchie, we're getting a lot of evidence on how good a coach Sam Mitchell is, and not for the first time on this show I've called him a genius. So already he's taken care of it.
You're all in, Kane.
I'm all in. So and I'd be having a think about. I think he's out of contract at the end of next year, but for the stability of the footy club, you'd think about extending that further. So he's got a hold of Clarkson.
How long?
I'd give him another 3 after next year.
So hang on a minute. So you
another
like
3 now?
Yeah, I would.
So you like long-term?
Well, not for players.
Contracts in coaches.
Well, coaches aren't going to get injured, are they?
But not players.
Well, exactly right. Depending on the right coach. Clearly,
I agree with you to extend him, but that is a weird thing to say from you.
No, it's not. It's if you're coming along for the rebuild, he needs a good 5-6 year period to see this rebuild through.
Aren't you more exposed to one person's performance as a coach than you are to a player?
Well, but coaches don't have the risk of getting injury, and they don't have the risk of dropping off with poor form. We've clearly seen he's a young man. He started this rebuild. He needs to be given the opportunity to see it through and the stability that would provide. So he's taking care of Clarkson, Ross Lyon,
why does
and
he
now
need
Fagan.
stability if he's in demand everywhere else? Collingwood win for him.
Well, and that's the risk for Hawthorn, so that's my point. That's why I would be extending him, so he's not at risk of being poached by another club.
What I'm impressed by him, Kane, is this. He had this to say, I think, last year about his brand of football and what he's looking to be to find the next trick.
If we try and play the way Melbourne and Geelong are playing, they're going to be better than us at that. So we need to figure out what the next iteration of the game is and then play in that way. So then in 3 years' time, when everyone's trying to play this new style, we've already been playing and we've learnt all the mistakes. And there's other teams saying, oh, we're not going to beat them at their game. They've been doing that for 3 years.
So he's not going to be a copycat. He's going to develop his own brand.
It's fascinating. And what is that? And how handball reliant is it?
Well, amazingly, Hutchie, they're actually saying that they're not really practising like this. It's just developing in games and becoming a bit of a weapon for them. So they've just got to get that balance right. But there's no doubt they upset St Kilda, who are one of the best defensive teams in the game 2 weeks ago, and they upset Brisbane, who have been defending really well. So for them, it's attack at all costs. And even if they get exposed on the way back like they did against Port Adelaide last week, they don't mind. They're just going to try and open you up in offence, a bit like Malcolm Blight, I reckon, with the way he played back in the late 80s, 90s. He's going to try and score more than the opposition. Doesn't matter what you concede, they'll try and score more.
So they're all in on attack, you think?
Yeah, that's what I think, yeah.
Fascinating. And where do they go from here? Like, how risky is this going to be over time for them?
The Hawks? Yeah. Well, with the handbooks, I think they haven't quite got the balance right yet. But, I mean, if they got to 7 wins this year, that would be a significant achievement with the list changes they made. You push for 10 next year, you add to the list, go to the draft again, and in a year or two's time, you're challenging for the finals.
Do you really like their kids compared to the rest of the competition?
I like...
you still want to see
I think they need a bit more star power. I think they've got a lot of nice midfielders, but they don't have the genuine star like we're seeing with Rosie and Butters and Horn Francis at Port Adelaide and Wardlaw at North Melbourne. That's what they need, the generational star that they're probably just missing at the moment.
They got picks and ammunition. They are in a great spot.